we know that we are connected to our intuition already? One of the most powerful ways that we find ourselves connected with our intuition, but we just easily flow with that, is this general sense of just knowing. So, a general sense of just doing what it is that you feel like you need to do. And I find that that oftentimes comes with this idea of, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I just feel like I need to. Or I don't know why I feel compelled to say this, but I just feel like I need to. And so it's just this feeling. And we might not have a logical reason or a specific reason as to why we're choosing to do this or to say this. However, we have this intuitive information that's guiding the way. I also think for those of us who have these powerful gut responses to things, that's our intuition leading the way. So we might have a strong gut response when something feels really wrong, or we might have a strong gut response when something's really exciting or when we need to pay attention to it. In fact, our entire body is our greatest intuitive tool. It helps to guide us, it helps to show us the way, and it's constantly giving us intuitive information if we learn to tune into it. I think that it's so important that we do listen to that because our body, we're kind of taught to ignore that sometimes. We are always busy. We are wrapped up in our electronic devices and all of these busy tasks that we need to do all the time. And so many of us are not taking the time to kind of go within and to tune back into the body. And your body is constantly emitting signals to you to tell you intuitive information. So for example, it may be giving you information about a specific setting that you're sitting in. Maybe you're in a space that doesn't have the greatest energy, and so your body might make you feel a little bit anxious or uncomfortable, or it might get tingly in some way, or just feel different in some way, and that is your body giving you intuitive information. Or your body might have a really strong physical response to something, and that is your body giving you information. So I find that it's really helpful when you are connecting with your intuition that you're really making sure that you are starting to tune back into the body and that you're being more conscientious of what it is that your body is experiencing, because it will give you such amazing intuitive information. And we'll dive into that a little bit more. Also, how are we connecting with our intuition? So let's come back to that. We are already connecting with our intuition when we're having those deja vu moments, right? I always like to say that deja vu moments are those moments where we're remembering our soul contract that we created before we even came onto this earth. And it's kind of like that recognition of, yep, you're exactly where you need to be, or this was an experience that you intended for yourself to have before you even came here to this earth. Or those moments that you just happen to think of a friend and then that very same day you run into them, or you happen to think of a friend and think, hey, maybe I should reach out to them. And they say to you, this is exactly what I needed here today. And I was really struggling. And thank you so much for reaching out. So we have a general sense of what it is that other people need. In fact, that's another sign that you are intuitive, is this empathic ability. So many of the people who come here to Clarity are empathic and can pick up on and take on other people's emotions. And so when you are empathic, you can take that on, but you can also deeply, deeply understand people. So you have a really great sense of where people are at or on any given moment. So what I mean by that is you may see a person and you may be interacting with them and they may on the surface seem very happy, they're smiling. To most people they would seem like they're just okay, but you have this intuitive sense that they're not okay, that maybe they're struggling. And so that's an important piece of this as well, is listening to that, because your intuitive voice is always going to be right. You might not have a sense of exactly why they're struggling, or maybe you do, but listening to that intuition that's telling you that something doesn't quite match here, that something feels off here. Other ways that we connect with our intuition are things like those jinx moments that we have where we and another person say the exact same thing at the same time, or when we say something and the other person who's sitting next to us says, that was exactly what I was thinking. Because we are tapping into that information, we are getting that intuitive information and it's flowing through us. Or we might say exactly the thing that a person needed to hear, because Spirit is always speaking through us and always using us as a conduit for delivering their messages. I also think that that feeling of just being tuned in and really connected to the universe can be a powerful intuitive experience. So those moments when you're just standing outside and you are feeling connected to the moon and the stars and the sun and the earth, and this is you really just learning to connect with that more animalistic part of yourself, that part that's connected to the earth. And this helps us to feel connected with our intuition, and we're getting a lot of amazing messages simply by being connected to that. I think that being out in nature can be an incredibly powerful tool for that, an incredibly powerful way to connect with our intuition. Also, there are those of us that are receiving predictive information. So what I mean by that is flashes of things that are about to come to fruition, or just an overall sense of what's going to happen next in your own life or in other people's lives. That's your intuition. And I meet so many people who connect with their intuition through dreams. And that can be kind of scary sometimes, because sometimes we can question when we have a nightmare, is that a predictive dream or is that just a nightmare? So for those of us who have had predictive dreams and had those come true, that can be kind of stressful when that's happening. I really like to make sure that I set an intention before I go to bed at night that any information that I'm receiving is going to only be helpful, healing, or preventative. And this will help to filter out some of those really scary dreams and help to give you just the right intuitive information that you need, especially if you're somebody who gets a lot of that intuitive information in your sleep. Or you might get a lot of symbolism or information in this way, or even visits from crossed loved ones or your angels and your guides in your sleep. So that's going to be a great place for you to make those connections, and it's actually one of the most direct connections that we can make to that astral plane, which is where we can meet our guides, our angels, and our crossed loved ones.